I just read, what's his name? Not Chris Rock.
Dave Chappelle?
Dave Chappelle. 20 mil a pop for his concert. And the reason I know that was CNN had an article on their online site where Chappelle was doing his routine. He was, doing a club.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know this, but when comedians do clubs now, they make everybody put their cell phones in a bag.
Oh, yeah. They have for 3 years.
I did not know that. Well, I haven't been to a comedy show. I am comedy.
You are comedy.
I just look in the mirror and do my routine.
Do it.
That's
You're
all.
good.
Yeah, it saves money.
It's
lots
super
of money.
Weird. They make you drop it in a bag before you go in.
Yeah. So apparently somebody snuck a camera in, right, a phone, and was recording his show, and he spotted him, and he alerted security, and then he just walked off stage and never came back. Done. That was it. And the reason was because the guy who wrote the article apparently early on was a comedian himself. And he said that's where comedians test out their material.
Yeah.
And they do that so, if they ever get a special or cut an album or whatever, they know what works and what doesn't. Which I get all that, right?
Yeah.
But that's when he said, he said he's under deal with Netflix at 20 million a pop.
That he doesn't need because his television show was 20 years ago.
Yeah, he might as well own Comedy Central.
It was like 50 million back then.
It was ridiculous. It was stupid money.
And it was great.
And
I thought he got in trouble for making a trans joke.
Well, he did on Saturday Night Live, I think. Yeah.
Who knows?
I'm not a big Chappelle fan. I've watched him, I've listened to him, and he just, I just don't get it. This is sad to say. I think the funniest thing I've ever seen from David Chappelle was on his show where he plays an African American who is blind, who is the head
of the KKK.
Head of the KKK.
Yeah, that's funny.
That was funny.
That and him doing the Rick James, Charlie Murphy stories. Yeah, that shit's funny too.
And Charlie Murphy, he's hysterical. I think he's funnier than Eddie.
If we're talking about, get out of it. No! Get out of the greatest comedian of the 80s.
I think Eddie's great, but Charlie Murphy is hysterical.
He was funny. I would say that if we're going about comedians that did some controversial, weird stuff that I think are funny, and I'm going to say Louis C.K. is funny over Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, for me.
Right. No, I just don't get Dave Chappelle.
You know who I don't get besides that? Seinfeld.
I don't get Jerry. I don't
get it at all. He's not funny.
No.
The show is good because the other characters are so ridiculous.
Right. No.
But he's like the worst part of the show.
Now, I say that. I've never seen Seinfeld in concert or live performance. I've never seen Dave Chappelle in a live performance. And now I did stand up for a little while.
Okay.
I mean, I get it. I mean, I understand it all. But the things that I've seen on TV or on YouTube, and of performances of Chappelle and Seinfeld and really any other comedian, because I like comedy. I like comedy. What's the name of the guy who's from Old Hickory?
Nate Bargatze.
Yeah. Oh, plus
he's funny.
Well, I think he's okay, but I thought going on Saturday Night Live was a horrible move.
Did he?
Oh, yeah, he hosted.
I haven't watched Saturday Night Live in 10 plus
I think
years.
he did awful. He killed his brand.
He's not an actor. That's the thing people don't get. You know who's good on Saturday Night Live? Tom Hanks. Funny actors.
Right,
because it's a sketch show.
But so he's a comedian. But even his opening monologue was horrible. I mean, it was just so deadpan and nobody laughed. And his humor's so regional that it just doesn't, I don't think it goes to, because he does that, I don't want to say Larry the Cable Guy thing, but he's got that drawl, he's more of a Bill Engel maybe. Here's your sign, Now that's funny. Bill Engel was funny.
Was he?
I thought Bill, out of the three, well, Ron White,
I was
Bill
like
Engel,
Ron White. I thought he was the
Ron White,
funniest.
Bill Engel, and then Jeff Foxworthy was last.
Well, Ron White wasn't actually doing comedy. He was just telling stories while he drank scotch.
I love that. I love that kind of comedy because I think you take Gallagher and George Carlin. Those guys did comedy well. I mean, I love the storytelling kind of humor as opposed to the one-liners. And, Eddie Murphy was like that when he first started out. He was storytelling. He would go over to everybody's house and we had a cookout and then he, put too much lighter fluid on the thing and light the match. Now that's a fire!
It's hard to be, here's one. It's real hard to be funny when you're super rich. It is. You don't have what?
That my problem?
No, I'm talking about like Eddie
What
Murphy.
about super poor too?
No, you can be funny as shit if you're poor.
Yeah, I was.
But if you're Eddie Murphy, you've been so rich since 1985. So rich What is your That's why he doesn't do stand up. What is your comedy?
Where's funny about that? He's so rich now too.
Yeah, he's making.
Bitter. He comes across so bitter now.
He seems, I'm going to smoke some cigarettes and tell you what I think about how weird this thing is.
Some pot. That's not
also
cigarettes. Well, yeah. Anyway, welcome to the show.
10-minute sidebar.
We can narrow that down. Good afternoon and welcome to Streaming Without a Paddle. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Ted.
This week, Ted and I watched Family Plan, Apple TV original, 1 hour, 59 minutes, starring Mark Wahlberg, Michelle Monahan, Monahan.
It's a hard one.
Yeah, it is.
Monahan.
I'm a bad name guy.
It's funny. It gets funnier all the time.
All right, let me put it this way. She's Rebecca Ferguson's doppelganger. She and Rebecca Ferguson are doppelgangers to each other. Let me put it that way. I don't want to put one over the other. They were both in the Mission Impossible movies.
Yes.
And Michelle was first. She played Tom Cruise's doctor wife.
Yes.
Yeah, so there you go.
She was also phenomenal in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which was the return of Robert Downey Jr.
Yes. And let's get Zoe Collette, Van Crosby, and Maggie Q, and I'm going to kill this one because he's
the Irish guy.
The Irish, yeah.
Tell me this,
Sergen Hine, King of the North from GOT.
Did you catch that he did not have an accent in this movie? He was just normal American,
right?
But they go something British accent. They commented on a British accent.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that was in it because they were like, well, you'll just be British. And then he was like, no, I'll just be American.
And it was a bad American.
It was a bad American.
This movie, I forget, Simon Jones, I think, directed this.
It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, it kind of does because I think it reflects in this movie.
A child could have directed this movie.
I looked up who directed this movie because it was funny. There were so many useless cutaways. I mean, there's a scene, and it's not a spoiler because it's just a scene. And there are a lot of just scenes in this movie that may have no meaning whatsoever. But they're in their luxury suite in Las Vegas, and she's in the bathroom getting ready. They're going out on a date, and they just showed way too much of her getting ready. And him tucking a knife into his boot, and or his shoe, sock, whatever, and I was just like, my God! I come to think of it, there's just a lot of useless cutaways in this movie. And then I looked up who directed this. It's got to be a first-time director. Oh no, episodic director from TV.
Yep.
So it was like, oh, I'm doing a feature. Let's get a crap load of cutaway stuff.
Let's really cover our bases.
Yeah, and they used it. So, all right, here's the story in a nutshell. You want to take it?
I can.
Take it.
Okay, Mark Wahlberg has this family, and he got married 18 years ago, and he's a used car salesman. Right off the bat, he doesn't like his picture being taken. He doesn't like social media. Well, one night when they're on their every year anniversary to this theme park to ride, what was the Cyclone?
Something like that.
A roller coaster. Some younger college punk kind of guys take a picture of him and put it on the internet and then pour a drink on him and he doesn't beat him up. And then that goes out into the world. He gets pinged and you find out he was an international assassin and his entire people that he used to work for have been looking for him for 18 years. They all find him and they ascend upon him and his family. His family knows nothing about it. He tells them they're going on a road trip to Vegas and then hilarity and action ensue. I mean, that's it. That's the pitch.
This was MI6 meets Family Vacation, right down to the fact that, again, useless cutaways of showing the car crossing the country via a map, like just like in Vacation. It was, and there were a lot of stops on the way. They were story building, kind of. There was a different way to tell it. I know there was. It just wasted time. It's an hour and 59 minutes.
It's what it should be is an hour and 36 minutes. Okay. Honestly, an hour and 30. What it seems like, and the reason I said a child could direct this is it's so by the numbers. I enjoyed it. It was pretty fun. It wasn't great. It wasn't amazing, but it's like a fun, entertaining movie, but like there's nothing special about this movie except for maybe the performance of the baby.
Well, yeah, there's a baby. I don't even know what the baby's name, and it doesn't matter. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with you. I will never say, "Oh, I want to watch that movie again," like I would Super Troopers.
Yes,
I'll never say that about this. If it's on, I'll watch it. I'll take a peek at it, and oh yeah, I remember that. That was a good scene, or whatever. But I about halfway through the movie, Ted, I got the feeling that knowing that Michelle was in MI6 with Tom Cruise, I kind of, because it's that feel of a movie. You know, it's like if Ethan, whatever his last name is,
Hawke,
is it?
Are you talking? Wait, are you talking about the character?
Yeah, Ethan Hawke.
Oh, Ethan. I don't know. I don't watch his
whatever.
movies.
But anyway, it was like if Ethan, aka Tom Cruise, got out of the business and this was his life. You know.
Which is what it is.
It is. Yeah. It's the same. I thought this was kind of a Wahlberg, who is an action star.
Mm-hmm.
I think because he was the executive producer of this movie, and I think this was kind of a jab at Cruise.
Do you?
I did. I got the feeling that this was a jab. He cast his wife as his wife in this movie.
But he's 52, right?
Who, Mark?
Yeah, he's 52.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is 61.
Yeah. Well, he's young. He looks young, though.
Yeah, because of injections.
Well, whatever. But I thought this movie was a jab at Tom.
The funniest thing about Tom Cruise, and I've said this when we were talking about Top Gun Maverick, is like the pure like need he has to run in a movie. He's like, hey, I'm a 60-year-old man. You better put a scene in here where I wind sprint.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, come on. You just look slow. You look like you're trucking as hard as you can, but barely moving.
Yeah, I'd like to see him and Peyton Manning in a race.
Oh, gosh. He's probably faster than Peyton Manning.
Probably. Probably. I didn't say to see who won or lost. I just
funny.
Just to watch the two of them run.
This movie, the whole time I was like, this is a worse version of We Are the Millers.
Yeah, yes, it is a piece of that too. It is. It is. We are because of the family dynamic, going on. At least the Millers knew what they were doing. Well, they didn't at first.
But that's why it's funny.
Yeah,
it's funny because there are these random people put together. This is more action than funny.
Like I said, I thought this about halfway through. I was like, "This is Mark Wahlberg poking at Tom Cruise in all those MI6 movies."
I mean, it's funny if he did that.
I really do. Mark, if you're listening, please.
Hats off, buddy.
Yeah, streaming without a paddle at Gmail, or streaming without a paddle podcast at gmail.com. Shoot me an email. Let me know if this was a poke at Tom Cruise.
Yeah, when you get up tomorrow at 3:30 in the morning to go to your personal boxing gym and workout room,
right?
Whatever trainer gets up with you at 3:30 in the morning,
municipal. Yeah.
You just know that we enjoyed that you did that if you did it.
Well, yeah, and I'll be up tomorrow around 5 a.m. to go to FMC to get my workout on.
5?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to go in the morning because it won't. I'm going to go tonight and then I'm going to go tomorrow.
I'm going
morning.
to, yeah, this week's got me off schedule.
I just try to do the
So
afternoon,
I'm going
but
tonight.
after 5:30, it's just like, wow, that's just like, ugh.
Yeah. You know what? This was one of those movies that I liked and I didn't like. It was too long. I think, and I don't want to, I hate to do it, but I'm placing blame right on the director on this one.
Yeah.
I really am, because it was just, the dialogue was slow, and Syrian Hines, who plays Mark
Useless.
Wahlberg. Yeah, everything was just dragged on with him.
I
mean,
thought
it
he
was
was.
like-
I had no clue who he was because I've not seen Belfast and I don't watch Game of Thrones. And
Right.
I don't know him by face. And like I go, who is this extra that is really getting his screen time? To be completely straight with
Well,
you.
up until I guess season 3 of, in season 2 and season 3 of GOT, he played the King of the North Beyond the Wall, or the King Beyond the Wall. There you go. That's what I think it was officially called. And he was good in it. He played that role really, really well. I got nothing against him because I can't say anything other than the fact that I really think the director on this just dragged every scene out. It was just like he was so happy to be with Mark Wahlberg and doing an action movie with Mark Wahlberg, and and it's like, So anyway, I blame the director for that. I know I got no reason to because I wasn't there. I didn't have notes on it.
He has not done anything that would give him where he should direct this.
Was he in one of the MI6 movies?
No, I'm talking about the director. I just don't understand it. He's never directed a feature.
Right.
He did a TV movie one time. They're all TV shows.
Yeah. And he's an episodic director.
Oh, he's British too, without me even looking. Oh, he's
there you
British.
go. Yeah. Another punch at.
I'm sorry.
The opinions of Ted are solely the opinions of Ted.
He won a BAFTA TV award. Oh, cool.
Do not represent or reflect the Streaming Without a Paddle as an entity.
I mean,
and or
just
the co-host.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know what? You know who never direct British movies? Americans.
I love British people.
I love British people too. Some of my best friends are British.
I think I'm European. I'll be honest with you. I think in a previous life, I'm going Shirley MacLaine here, but I think in a previous life I was actually Spanish.
Okay.
But I do know my ancestors actually trace back to England. Mm-hmm. And not, I think it's like 3 generations back from me now.
Yeah.
Is when my mom's side of the family came over from England, and I'm related to Sir Francis Drake.
What?
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
that is cool, right? What a scoundrel,
We're just Welsh and Irish.
Sir. Well, I'm Scottish and English.
I don't know if I'm any.
Scottish.
My dad's whole Welsh family came over in like the mid 1800s, and they're all Welsh and Irish.
If I understand correct, my dad's grandparents came over from Scotland to Canada, where we're Scottish via Canadian, eh? So that makes me super cool.
That does.
I mean, I can't, And then my dad's dad, my grandfather, is the one that left Canada and came to the U.S.
Okay.
So, and
Probably should have stayed.
I'm told that there's anyway.
There's lots of.
I'm Canadian and Scottish, if you want to say that.
I like that.
I'm Scottish via Canada.
Via Canada.
Right.
I
Drank all the way here, baby.
Yeah, you did. I don't want the British people to think I don't like them. I just sometimes I'm like, oh, we're doing this very American movie about America and doing road trips and doing the thing, and it's like, who can we get? A British television director. Yeah. It's like, come on, dude. Get that dude that what is his name, or get a girl.
Do you think that
Why don't we get a female director?
Do you think that was a cost cutting? And I don't want to say a cost cutting, because there's this big pile of money, right? And you got Wahlberg there, big name. So we go in and we cut this chunk out for Mark, right? But we now can only afford a certain level of expertise in the area of all things production, including director.
I don't know.
I don't either. Anyway, well, he cut his teeth, and if you're gonna cut your teeth, that in the sense of making motion pictures. So anyway, all right, Ted, let's give this some numbers. So you want me to lead? Okay, I'm gonna give this a 78 as an action comedy movie.
I'm going to give it for all the way across the board, action comedy, movie,
General
everything,
movie.
general, 70.
70.
70.
Okay, I'm not gonna argue.
It is a C. It is a 1984 C.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean because they changed the grade scale.
You know what it is? If you still have cable, which some people do. I was just at a cabin and they had cable in the cabin, which was weird. But if you still have cable, this is a movie that would be played repeatedly on TBS 2 years after it came out. For a solid 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to get scooped up because it's not. Yeah.
It's not offensive. It's not great. It's good.
Yeah, it's just, it's there.
Yeah.
It's there. All right. Oh, hey. I've got 2 episodes of Bookie left.
It's fun, right?
And it's on HBO Max. You know what's great? It is. It's a good series.
And it's quick.
I'm enjoying. Yes, that's what I was going to say. That's what makes it great. It's a comedy drama. Lean more on the, I think, well, it's probably a good balance. But anyway, it's on Max. It's about a bookie. And he's not a hardcore bookie in the sense of, he breaks legs and that kind of stuff. He gives people breaks. I mean, he's up for bartering for stuff. And but anyway, I like it. And the episodes run about 20 minutes apiece.
You rip through 2 or 3 at once. It's fun.
Yeah, well, I think we reeled off 4 of them last night.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
We watched the first episode solo, and we kind of chewed on it, and then you brought it up, and I was like, okay, yeah, I can go back to that, and because once you said it, I was like, I know that movie, I know that show, and so we went and turned it on. Like, oh yeah. So we reeled off 4 or 5.
Here comes Charlie Sheen. 2 episodes in there.
So is that what he was in?
He's in 2 episodes, yeah.
Okay, well, he was in episode 1.
And then he's in another one coming.
All right.
But he was great in episode 1.
So, oh, yeah, no. Which is really funny because who produces the show?
Chuck Lorre.
Yeah.
I think one of those
apology
steps in the program.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think the water's under the bridge at this point?
I think so. I think he was like, dude, I was freebasing cocaine at my house. Can we just chill? I'm really sorry.
This is the Hollywood guy, the marketing guy. You kind of wonder if those things are preconceived.
Yeah, maybe.
Because, Charlie was like, okay, I'm going to take a big payday out of this. And, and Chuck, you're going to be bigger than Bruckenheimer, because your name's going to be splashed everywhere. Nobody knows you outside of Hollywood. Nobody knows who Chuck Lorre is, and here we go. You're going to be huge. So.
I mean, he must just bathe in money. He's probably worth $100 million.
Who?
Chuck Lorre.
Oh, I'm sure. I wonder though. And I'm not going to put any names to this because if I want to dabble, I can still dabble. I had a reality show that was based on a real law enforcement department, right? Mm-hmm. And they specialize, and they have these little units, and people don't know about them all over the country. And I'll show you the teaser for it.
Okay, I'd love to see.
So anyway, and this is when I wonder if what Chuck does, but in reverse. I wonder if people come to him with ideas and then he attaches himself to it and then goes to the network. Because this is what happened. We took the idea to, I packaged this show with another production company, right? And because I thought they were a good fit for it, and they had something I didn't have at the time, and that was an agent, right? So their agent was at one of the leading agencies in Hollywood. They took the reality series to them. They loved it. And for whatever reason, and I don't understand this, but for whatever reason, they showed it to another producer who's a huge, huge name. And then the agent came back to us and said, okay, this person wants to be involved. And we were like, no, this is our show. Why would they need to be involved? And then they came back and they said, we can't afford to move forward with this project if they're not attached, because if they're not attached, we risk losing them.
Can't guarantee it.
And I was just like, crap.
Did the same thing to me on the wrestling pilot that I had at William Morris. Same thing. People want to get attached, and you're like, it's crazy.
Oh my God. I was so pissed.
Yeah.
I was so pissed. And that individual wanted over 50% and all producing rights. And I'm like, no, I want to be involved. I'm not walking away from this.
Yeah, they just want you, the talent that you have, that you created something with, they just want to take that. So I think Chuck Lloyd probably came up with the first 2 or 3 shows, and from then on, it's been like
he's just getting them. They're bringing them to him.
He came up with 2.5 Men, and he came up with Big Bang Theory. But I think after that, it's been like, hey,
just attach him.
Let's have a coffee. I'll produce it. I'll write. I'll be in the writers' room for the first season.
You'll get X amount every episode, and my team will take care of it from here on. Yeah. Anyway, on that note, again, thank you for listening to Streaming Without a Paddle.
Thank you.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Ted.